Namaste everyone. Very warm welcome to Satsang today. Sadhguru Srimati Ji ki Jai. We only have a few days of Satsang left before we leave for our trip to Sahaja. So let's ask questions. If there are questions, I don't want to leave you with questions. If there are questions, let's keep them short if possible. You can speak them out or type them out. Ask over here. A little louder so they can also hear.
Yes,
Come closer.
I've been following some of Sadhguru Ji's videos. In one of the video, he said that even the idea of self-inquiry, the practice of it itself is kind of something that needs to be clear. Now, there is a fear that arises when you're doing sadhana or practice. The fear is that if you leave that, you use it like a crutches. If you leave the crutches, there is a chance that you fall, believing that the mind is the existence. So how do you get out of this fear of leaving the crutches of practice?
First thing to remember is that when the sage answers the question, he's not really, as Guruji himself says, not really answering the question per se. He's mostly answering the questioner. So, Guruji has often said that amongst all the things that we drop, let inquiry, let the attachment to the master, let the devotion to the master be the last thing to be dropped. Otherwise, what can happen is that we hear in Satsang that we must inquire into the truth of what we are, who am I. And at the same time, we also hear drop everything, including the inquiry. What are you right now? And both these can seem contradictory. So that can lead to some confusion. So if it still feels like I must do something, if it still feels authentic and with integrity that I must do something, then inquiry is one of the most beautiful things to do. But once the idea of the doer itself is dissolved, the idea of the doership itself is dissolved, and it seems like there comes a point where the only thing that this doership now relies on is a spiritual practice. Then we can look at that and say, okay, even this, who's doing it? Who's the inquirer? Is there an individual entity who's doing the inquiry? So in that looking, you find that no, it is also something which is moving in its own way by the Master's grace. There never was I who was doing the inquiry. Then the idea that I must do the inquiry also falls away. Now, where are you? Does it still feel like I do this, I do that, I do this, I do that, I'm doing all of these things? And I'm also doing the inquiry, so should I drop the inquiry? Or does it feel like everything is moving in its own flow, and doership only seems to come with this individual personal intent. I'm only seeming to do a spiritual practice, a self-inquiry. That's what we have to look at. If I ask you, where is the doer? What will you say? From your own insight, not from what you heard in Satsang. Yeah. And this I, when you're referring to I am the doer, you're referring to it as an individual way, not like consciousness as I am. Then don't be in a rush to drop the inquiry. In fact, it is the fruit of the inquiry itself. Who am I? And you find that there is no individual doer here at all. Then this doership itself will organically drop away. The idea that I am doing, what should I do, all this will start to drop away, thin away, as you look and you find that there is no entity here. So tell me a little bit about your inquiry.
So I think it moves in waves. There are times when you are in that awareness where there are gaps in your thought. You can feel that just there. The past and future cease to exist for moments and then flows back.
Can you check now who you are? That is the report from the past. If you ask yourself right now, what is it that you are?
I am what I am currently.
Which means what? When you say I am what I am, what is it? Expand on this I am.
It is it's a feeling which I'm not able to get it out of the mind. So while I'm speaking, I'm here as an observer.
You're the observer of this speaking.
Yes.
Yes. What can we say, not about the speaking, but what can we say about this observer?
There's nothing that I can say about the observer. It's there.
This observer is you or no?
In this awareness, you know
slowly,
that it is you.
Very slowly. So, speaking is happening. Speaking is being perceived. Now you say, I am the perceiver of it. Is this what you say? I am the perceiver of it. And then I said, what can we say about the perceiver? You say, there's nothing much I can really say about it, except that it is. I say, okay, is this perceiver you or not? You say,
There is no gap between the perceiver and what it is
yes.
perceived. So
Yes.
there,
Yes. So there is really no gap. Okay.
it's just happening at the time when there is no mind, or at
If
least
there is
at the activities, at the level of activity, it's the activity which is happening.
So this activity is happening now.
Yes.
Who is perceiving it? Although there is no gap between the perceived and the perceiver, you see, the activity itself is not perceiving the activity. In a way, we'll deconstruct this some more. So who is perceiving it then? The hand is moving. Is the hand perceiving it? The eyesight, there is sight of the hand. Who is perceiving that there is sight?
It's an aspect of, if at this moment I can say it's an aspect of me which is perceiving, but which is not the eyesight or which is not the hand.
Now, this aspect of you implies what?
I can only say that it is in me, which is perceiving, which is letting the activity to happen, and it just makes it happen.
So this, which is the aspect of you, which is perceiving this, does this aspect have any quality, any attribute?
The attribute is of the perception. Its activity is to perceive.
Besides to perceive, does it also have another activity?
So at times it feels when there is no gap, it feels that even the activity that it is doing of speaking,
Yeah.
it is of his.
Of course. But besides this activity of perceiving, speaking, listening, seeing, smelling, touching, is there any other quality about this, any other function for this aspect?
That it makes it happen.
That it? Okay, so this is very good. So if it makes it happen, it must be then the projector or the conceiver as well as the perceiver. Is that what you mean by make it happen?
So if the thought occurs in my mind,
Yeah.
I'm just trying to give you an example. Thought occurred. There was these seeds of memory. Thought occurred on its own. It can't be recognized till the time it's perceived by someone.
Yes. So this perceiving is one. Now the thought occurs. To perceive this thought, is that all you can do with it? Thought is happening. I am. Suppose the thought is saying, "I am not understanding what he's saying."
Right.
This thought is coming. It is perceived. Is there anything else that this aspect of you, as you call it, can do with this thought?
It can get involved with it.
Yes. In what
or
way?
choose that it identify itself
Yes.
with the thought,
Very good.
or it can choose to say separate.
So it not only has the power to perceive. You see, we look at whether it conceives it and perceives it. But for now, it's okay to say it has the power to perceive. You see, all phenomena. Would you say all phenomena, including thought?
Yes.
You see? But it also has the power to give its belief, assent, or to say it is true to this message called a thought. So it says this is meaningful and this is true. So which is qualitatively different from just the perceiving of the thought, which it uses attention to do. So attention is the power to perceive, and belief is the power to identify or to give meaning. Now, this is very good. You say it is an aspect of you that does all of this. So because you say it is an aspect, I can then ask you what does the other aspect do?
So the other aspect is the mind and the body.
So the mind, body, and this, let's for now call it consciousness. This consciousness that perceives it and believes it. Who is aware of both of these?
Is that aspect which
Consciousness.
I'm calling it an aspect because it's still that limited form which says that this this is you who is perceiving, this is who identifies with it, and this is who does it. The action as well as the thought, as well as when it is
Before
that
the identification happens, is there a limited one? You say that aspect which is still limited, is it? Then identifies with something, with the body mind. But before the identification happened, is there a limited one or an unlimited one? Let's look right now. Now, what is it limited or unlimited? It is limited, you see. What are its limitations?
limitation that it identifies and it is an aspect.
No, but before, in the moment, is there organically identification? Just spontaneously, in this moment, you identify it. Is that it?
Unless you look,
Yeah?
when you look at it, it feels limited.
So draw the boundaries of this limitation. When you look without identification, means without believing a concept or a notion of any sort, just look and define the boundary of this limitation. Limitation means what? As an edge, as a boundary.
Yes.
So can you tell me where it is?
Whatever it can perceive is the boundary.
Give an example. So you perceive this body in front of you.
This body, the activities of the senses and of the mind is the boundary that
Of that which is perceived.
yes.
Now, all of this, is it perceived within you or outside? Who is that?
So when I look at something, while the objects are outside, the perception is inside of that. If I think of anything, the thought, while thinking of things which are objects, which are outside of it,
Yes.
the screen is inside.
Now, first let's see if we can find a limit to this screen. Is there a limit to this screen? You say, for now, okay. You say objects are outside, but they are perceived inside. Which is a bit contrary to what you said earlier. That perception and the objects are the same. But it's okay, we'll look at that later. Now you say all perception is happening within myself, on the screen. Now, what are the boundaries of this screen?
Whatever it can perceive.
Is the screen limited by what is perceived?
Yes.
How do you come to that conclusion?
Because if I can't label it in some form of image or name, it can't get perceived.
Is this true? Do you have to have a label for this to be perceived?
The object or the image,
Yeah.
The image as a label. I'm not saying that.
But that's not the label.
Yes.
At least not how I refer to it, the label. Because
So when
the labeling is the interpretation of it.
I'm only referring to that as an image which is square, color which gets perceived.
So just like this image is getting perceived, this voice is getting perceived, the sound from the street is getting perceived. Everything in your experience is getting perceived. You say all of this is getting perceived within me. Do you have any experience of its actual existence without your perception of it? Except from your perception of it, is there any experience of any object?
Unless, so I need to experience to perceive.
Exactly, but can you confirm that there is a remote control on the couch? unless there is a perception of it. Now, let's first look at what all is perceived. This outer imagery is perceived. You call it outer, so let's look at that. Outer imagery is perceived. Sounds are perceived. All the sensory perception. Then memories. Memory is also perceived in the same screen.
Yes.
Any imagination, thoughts. What about emotion, sensations? What about pain and pleasure in the body? What about dreams?
Yes.
No matter what the content of the dream might be, mountains. And now, in that case, is that mountain inside you or outside?
Perception is inside.
So, when you dream at night, there is a mountain. There's an actual mountain outside, but only the perception is inside.
At that moment, it is inside. When, at that moment of the dream, it, it is obviously inside. Because your body never moved.
Is there an actual mountain outside? Besides your, that's what I mean. Besides your perception of it, is there actually an object which is being perceived in a dream? So, just like a dream, in this so-called waking, you only testimony to that which exists is what you perceive, isn't it? And all perception is happening only inside.
Yes.
And all of this, we looked at objects, we looked at sensations, we looked at thoughts, imagination, uh, memories, pain, pleasure, everything is on this screen, which is on the inside. Now, because all of this is boundaryless, all, is there any limit to what can be perceived even right now using your imagination or creativity? Anything can be perceived. What about your sense of existence? Does the term sound familiar? The sense that you exist, is it also on the screen?
Not on the screen.
Yeah.
It is. If I can just use the play of the word, it is the screen on which.
All this is happening.
Yes.
So the sense that I exist, I am, is the screen. All this is happening. This is from inside.
This is. It's actually what as I speak. This is,
Arising. Now, you say very beautifully that my existence, consciousness, is the screen on top of which all this imagery, all this perception is happening. And I have no experience of anything except as a perception in this way. Now, what is aware of this existence? Is that on the screen?
it is there. Awareness of that screen is there.
Where? On the screen? Or
It it is the screen.
so would you say that it is your sense of existence itself?
When I say existence, different from awareness. Yes. Sense of awareness is that of existence in this form. I'm not using the right words, but
It's okay. It's very good. It's very good. So for now, it's good. So we don't distinguish for some time between awareness and this sense of existence. It's fine, completely fine. Now, the sense of existence is whose sense of existence? Is it that you exist, or that I exist, or Gopala exists, or Radha exists?
since all of this existence, we perceive that it was part of that same screen.
Yeah.
It's the entire existence in that awareness.
Yes. Yes. Now, in this entirety of it, with all its perceptions, we can turn this off. Is the light so? Yeah. Does it feel intimate, like it is my existence, or does it feel like it's like a screen which is outside?
The screen is
They're going down.
Storming.
They're going down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Storming.
Yeah, I know. It's been good. Yeah, and I go to my trimmer. I'm the best sister ever.
at this moment.
I'll give you a simpler way. Is it like when somebody is watching the computer, watching a movie, there is a screen
Right.
on top of which all this is happening?
Right.
Is this your experience with this screen also? Okay. So you say that everything is happening on the screen of existence. And for me, even the screen is visible.
When I observe consciously,
Yeah.
it is visible. When
Now,
I'm not conscious of it.
Yeah.
It is the screen.
Okay. So when you observe, now what can we say about the observer of the screen? You see on the screen of my existence, everything is happening. Everything is happening. This screen is happening in front of me.
Yes.
So that in front of whom the screen is happening, what can we say about that one?
That it is only observing. That it is only observing.
Is it you that is observing?
Yes.
What is the shape of this one? Everything that has a shape is on the screen.
Right.
Correct? The screen itself, you say, is in front of me.
So this is the aspect I wanted to actually
Very good.
clarify.
Very good.
That when it is observing consciously, it sees the screen. When it is not conscious of that observing, it is the screen.
Let's look at this. Now, clarity about this. You are clear that you, as a witness even of this screen of existence, on top of which all of this phenomenal play is happening. Right? So this one you say does not have a shape, size, nothing. Right. Now you say something happens to this, then it is not observing consciously, just to use those words. Okay, make it happen and show me. Become an object on the screen or become the screen. Now don't observe.
You only become whatever is the screen.
Become and show you became?
As in, it's not becoming, but it is the existence.
It is the existence. Agreed, but that existence was there.
Right.
Now, you don't find the one that observes the screen now? Huh? It vanished?
Yeah, it vanished.
Who saw that it vanished?
The one which was observing, or at least
Then it
felt
have
that
vanished. If you say it is like saying, I vanished. I am not here anymore. Is it possible? Even to say that it is no longer there means that there must be something that saw that.
Yes.
So that one you say is the same one. So where did it go? If it is there to see that it vanished, then where did it go? It is still seen.
Yes.
So irrespective of where attention is going, whether attention is completely consumed by an object on the screen or not, you see, when attention is taken away from the screen, irrespective of that, this awareness, this that observes or is witness to even the screen, this remains unchanged. So many times, because attention is so intimate to the self, it can seem like with the movement of attention, something is, the self is vanishing or something like that. You see? But where is attention always reporting back to? Is this clear?
Yes. Yes.
So nothing really vanishes. The truth does not come and go. So that which observes even this existence, even to say it is not there, needs that seeing that it is not there. And that seeing itself is it.
The registration, or to register that.
It is because attention seems to have this outward movement, you see, while still being connected to yourself in this way. You see? And when attention is just dropped away for some time, you see, it's so naturally here. But when attention is on objects, it can seem like where it is reporting to, that vanished. It never does. It's always coming back to the self. So we don't have, it is not an exercise in this way that we must always contain our attention to be in a certain way. You can just simply check, where is your attention reporting back to now? The content of your experience, where is it being assimilated or perceived?
Perceiver which recognizes those.
And what is aware of this perception? Yeah. Can you ever become the object which it is perceiving? Only that. I know that all of this we're still talking about aspects of yourself because they're only within the screen of your existence. Now, can you only become that object and not be that witness of it?
Only when it identifies itself.
Okay. Even in identification, does the fundamental truth change? What is the meaning of identification? Is it just Like if I were to start believing I'm a cat, right? I'm a cat, I'm just this white cat that is walking around. I have the power to believe these things. Many people in the world believe all kinds of things. So you can believe this, but in the belief of that, there's something changed about what I really am.
That can't be, because
So even in identification, it is just the pose of the cat. It is the pose that I am a body mind. But in reality, there's something changed. So once this is clear, then you see that my reality always remains as the self. The truth of what I am really is unchanging. It is only the ability to pick up this facade, this pretense of being limited, being an individual, that gets picked up. But there never is individuality in reality. It is the opposite. Reality and individuality are like opposites. Now, now we can look at your original question, which was, do you need to do anything to become the self? Can you try and push the self away? Just don't be the self. Make your best effort. Identify with anything, with any object, but don't be aware of it.
awareness is natural. So you have, you must get aware of it, or how would you experience
So
without that?
awareness, it cannot be pushed away,
Yes.
isn't it? Now, what is your relationship with this awareness? You know what the question is. Let's look at it a simpler way. What is the distance between you and this awareness?
It's natural. The awareness is between me and awareness. So if I am the one who is experiencing all of this. So there's no distance.
If I am or you are? Is it an inference or is it your insight?
This is the one that we just discussed. The awareness of whatever the perception is what I am.
Yeah.
There cannot be difference between that. The difference comes when the experience happens.
So we saw, does the difference happen in reality or it happens only because this conscious, this existent aspect of yourself has the ability to pick up ideas and limited ideas about itself. And with the idea that I am a cat, do you actually become one? What do you remain as?
Is that awareness? The awareness of that cat.
Okay.
But which,
If the object all vanish, is it? So one by one, all sensory perception is vanishing. I was aware of the perception of the world. Now the world has vanished. I was aware of these thoughts. I was aware of imagination. I was aware of sensation. All of this perception I was aware of. Now suppose one by one, they all go away. With which perception does awareness go?
awareness only remains, and even if there is nothing, or let me put it this way, if I were able to create a nothing, I would perceive through that awareness that there is nothing.
Yes. Is it? So is awareness independent of the objective reality?
It is. It encompasses that.
Encompasses it, yes. But is what has the dependent relationship? Can there be a perception of an objective world without awareness? Yes. But can there be awareness even when there is nothing?
Yes, that's possible.
So that's what I mean. That perception is dependent on awareness, but awareness is independent on whether there is perception or not. So therefore, what must be the greater and the unchanging one?
The awareness itself.
Now repeat your question again. What was it?
The previous one. So it
Which
was about
one?
the inquiry.
Is there a
It was about the inquiry of this thing, which the dropping of that and the fear of dropping the inquiry, which can put you back into the existence and attachment with the mind.
So let's deconstruct this now. What you saw just now, that was the inquiry, isn't it?
Right.
We inquired, what is it that I am? What is it that remains unchanging? Is it possible to not be aware? Is it possible to, even if all perception stops, you say that even to see that there is nothing, I must be this awareness. You didn't say I so much. We'll get to that. There is awareness. Now, this was the inquiry. What happened in the inquiry? You saw what you were.
Yes.
But did this awareness forget what it was? It did not. It is that aspect of you, the existent aspect again, which has the power to believe things about itself. When it comes to the recognition of the truth of itself, starts to drop all these false beliefs. Is it? So, in the play of consciousness, consciousness has used concepts to pose as if it is a limited entity. Now it is removing all these concepts from itself, unburdening itself in a way using the inquiry. And so Bhagavan said, inquiry is like that thorn which you use to remove other thorns. And in the end, we even throw that away. So there comes a point where to see the reality of what you are, you don't need to ask the question, who am I? It's just not even who, not even were, just like that. It's just natural. So, and for most, there is a period of oscillation between this identifying as this name and form and coming to the reality, remaining in that effortless non-identification. So there can be a period of oscillation between. So while that is happening, it is good to hold on to this inquiry. And how to hold on? When something presses a button, know that you cannot suffer unless you are identified. So when you start to sense some suffering, when you start to sense something is pushing my button, just check within. Who is it that I am? Who am I? Then you find that you find no sufferer. You find just some energetic movement, some sensation, some energy, some thought activity, and we call that suffering. But nobody is really suffering from them. It's just a label actually. So when you see that there is no sufferer, then the idea of suffering will become more and more seen to be a false idea belonging only to the idea that you had about yourself, and that is being dropped away now. Okay? So when you start to smell some suffering, know that at the root of it is a false notion, a false identification, and now you're keeping it aside because you're seeing more and more the truth about what you are. Till it seems effortless, till it seems mostly that you are empty of this identification, you can use the tool of inquiry. There's no trouble. It is the thorn which is removing the other thorn. So if you throw away this thorn very fast, what happens to these that are still embedded? So as long as there are conditions still embedded, then good to use this tool to remove it. You see, it is like Bhagwan gave another beautiful example. He said, on a funeral pyre, there is a stick which burns the fire. It is also a stick, but it is a stick which is lit up, which has the power to burn everything else. Now, if you say this stick, so I'll throw this stick away, what will burn the funeral pyre? Something like that. So, this also, ultimately, what happens to it? This is also thrown ultimately in the fire. But that fire has to catch on first. So, this is like analogies to explain what inquiry is. It itself usually does not create new conditioning. It is a tool to remove other conditioning. And there comes a point where inquiry itself becomes a condition. It can condition this aspect of us, which is like the spiritual ego. I'm doing inquiry so well, 4 hours I'm inquiring today. These kind of things. When we start to believe these ideas about ourselves, then the master might come and tell you that even this inquirer identity or even this practice of self-inquiry, don't need. Remain empty even of that. Remain neutral, open, and empty. Okay?
Okay.
I want to show everyone.
Okay, sure.
Because everyone, of course, was a bit.
Wow. Hello.
Baswant is here.
All that glitters is not gold.
It is gold.
Okay, Father. That was a knockout. I was not expecting that. Didn't see that coming. My guard is down. I feel so vulnerable. I literally feel hollow and empty, Father. It's like there's a lot of space inside now. A lot of space.
Maybe I can go out for you. It's okay.
There are questions to ask per se, Father. It's just I feel like talking because I hardly talk to people. And there's this void. It's like I have a cake. There's no one to eat. Well, there is this some sense of expectation that someone has to eat it. I don't understand whether this is conditioned or whether this is pure. I'm not able to see that clearly.
So he says very beautifully that sometimes an event can happen in our life, and that can feel like a complete knockout punch. Like, completely unexpected, out of the blue, boom.
That's it.
All the concepts that we hold about ourselves, everything that we felt was true about life, that is knocked away in one punch. Then you say that I feel so vulnerable, open, empty. And in this way, actually, even these kind of events, it will sound strange what I'm going to say, but even these events, they give you this gift that you cannot truly make a conclusion about anything because you know that anything can just happen in this phenomenal world. Anything can happen. But even in this now, the mind will come and it will try to give you a position. Even make the position of an open one, a vulnerable one. It will say, I know now that I'm so vulnerable. But even that we don't know. We mean empty of any condition, any concept.
The irony is, I don't know how I got so far, Father. I'm 32 now, by numbers. I have to make decisions for someone else.
Yeah.
7-year-old. That's the biggest joke.
This is how you got to 32?
I'm an accident. I just got here.
And yet, at every point, you would have said left or right, left. Right or left, right. Really like that. It can play like that.
Yeah.
But actually, when we look back, we say it just happened. You see. So all life is like this. It is just moving in its own way. Just like the waves of the ocean, they're moving. It can feel like the wave is deciding, oh, I'm going to go left today. I'm going to go this high today or this low. You see? All this is just make believe. It's fairy tales. I can decide what to do, what is to happen, where I will go. So as it is true, as it is true and was true for you, it is true for your child.
Yeah, I had no regrets because I took them from me. Sometimes I had to pay a price, but now the burden of making decisions for someone else, and you feel the accountability. That's so much pressure. I don't know how you run a company, but it's so much pressure. And there's not the right person to seek counsel with. Like, I mean, if she was here, I could have asked her, and she would have made all the decisions. I just supported. Now it's like,
Just take it one step at a time. If you start thinking about all the decisions you have to make, education and career and how to bring up a child, and nobody knows these things.
I have no clue.
Nobody has really. Ask all the parents.
Okay.
I'm at 2, and I've tried to read books about parenting, and when I was having my first child, and you just realize that nobody really knows anything about anything. Just when that moment arises, My children will come in front of me. They'll say, Pa, can we do this or not? I don't know the answer, but something, a yes or no comes. You see, the mind will come later and say, but was that good? Was that right? Was that wrong? It has nothing to do with how it moves. As parents, isn't it like that? They come. You could have a plan. Okay, I'm going to bring up my children with this. But it doesn't happen in the moment. It just flows as it is meant to flow. So just like any parent, you don't know anything, which is good. At least you have the recognition you don't know anything. You see, most parents, what the struggle is, they feel like they know something. And when the children seem to be going in another way, they feel like I'm not doing a good job as a parent or something like that. Yeah, because in Satsang, you're seeing that life is already surrendered. And with this event now, you see that it's all surrendered. Nobody could have seen this coming.
No planning can help.
No planning can help these things. So, you see that something moves all of this. And something will also move the life of your children. As you remain empty of your individuality, you'll find that your children are automatically blessed by your presence. It doesn't mean they won't throw tantrums and get angry.
Oh, man.
It's not a cheat code in that way. Maybe all that will still happen, but it's all part of the taste of this world, part of the taste of this creation. All the extremes are tasted here: life and death, birth and death. You have a taste of this, that death can just come from the silliest of things without any fathomable reason. Then all this strategizing and planning and deciding is quite worthless in the overall scheme of things. And yet, in the play, even this is part of the movement of the wave. So even spontaneously, you might find yourself planning. You see what I'm saying? You see, knowing fully well that this plan is just nothing but a conceptual idea, and if it is the will of consciousness for it to move in that way, it will. Otherwise, it's nothing. Yet, as part of the play, we can say, I have a flight on Friday evening, so what do I need to put in my bag? You can feel like planning, but you never know. When you open the bag, many times it just feels not something I packed at all. I don't know whether it happens with you. You go, oh, what? I put this stuff in. It's just, so you cannot really plan for any of this, but in the play like that. As long as you consider yourself to be an individual entity who has got responsibility now, additional responsibility, then it will seem burdensome. Once you start to see that there is no entity here anyway, it's always been consciousness, then it's always been that one's problem. Whether you call that consciousness the Sadguru, whether you call it God, it doesn't really matter. But the one's problem, who is it? Has always been. It's not really a problem. But you know what I mean. It's always been that. Nothing is additionally your problem.
Yeah. Yeah, I can clearly see I've picked up this agenda of this pressure, and I want to carry this weight now. And somehow I seem to be enjoying it actually. Oh, my bag to carry. My special cloak.
It's very beautiful what you say. Because even in the complaint of, oh, Father, now I have this additional responsibility, how will I deal with it? You see, consciousness is enjoying even that. At least you are looking clearly enough to admit it. Most of us, when we go through these things, we don't see it with these eyes, and then we are saying, how can consciousness be enjoying this?
Yeah, Father. Only your pointings have been very helpful. I came to India, everyone was crying. Some of them were blaming me. I was like zoned out. I took my bike out, went onto the freeway, started driving on the wrong way at 90 miles.
You did.
Yeah, I wanted to hit a truck. I don't know, somehow sanity prevailed. I was crying so much I couldn't even see what was coming. I don't know how I survived. It won't happen again, but I don't know what struck me. I realized that's not the solution.
We've been speaking about this topic for a little bit actually because we heard your news. Then today is, in fact, proves the day when we did this. And also, somebody had written to me. You don't know this yet. Somebody had written to me about a month ago. I was sharing in Satsang the other day that she wrote to me and she wanted to be in Satsang. And I tried to facilitate that for her. And before even she came, she killed herself. So we've been looking at various aspects of this suicidal tendency. It's also a condition.
Yeah.
And it's of course, everything is a play of consciousness. But this one is one part of the play which is really strange. Because many times, even these kind of actions come from a place of wanting to prove a point, as if uh, some sort of indication, some sort of. Sometimes it is just an expression of not wanting to exist anymore. But that really is not the solution because existence doesn't go away so easy. I feel like I'll end this body and then I will be free from all this pain that comes with the existence. But bodies are disposable. Sorry, I know we're broadcasting, so it might seem a bit strong. But bodies are by the dozen. How many bodies we have experienced?
From what I've experienced, Father, there's no discretion and reasoning during those moments. It's, the more you try and talk to them, the worse it gets. I don't know. I've accepted it, Father. But then there's tears still come because there's so much love, overwhelmed with love, and I miss the person. I don't know.
You must not feel that tears should not come, and only when the tears stop, then whatever. If there is grief, let there be grief. If there is anger, let there be anger. Not just grief, I'm sure even anger comes.
Yes.
Because in the worldly play, this can seem like something to get really angry about. So, everything, all this is allowed to come. Grief, anger, resentment can come. Don't try to push away any. Don't even worry about, for some time, don't even worry about whether it is mindy, whether it is not mindy. Don't be hard on yourself at all about anything. Just know one thing, that you are taken care of and your child is taken care of. There will be moments where strong identity will come. Let it come. It's okay. Just know that you're always in the Sadguru's arms. for consciousness to experience its own godly presence. It's the greatest gift we can give to ourselves while we have this existence. This gift you must give to yourself.
With your grace, Father.
Yes.
Weird.
This grace is only in service to your longing for this truth. It's always there.
Unfortunately, I've also been surrounded with storytellers
Yes.
who tend to watch a lot of movies,
Oh, yes.
Indian types.
Yes.
Oh, she passed away in so much anger. That's not good for you.
No.
And they house arrested me for 2 weeks. Did all this drama.
I was wondering what's happening. Yes.
Yeah. I don't feel anything.
True. Sadhguru's presence is greater than any other phenomenal force in this world. As long as you find your place in this presence, you don't have to worry about any of these things. Even otherwise, mostly most people don't know what they're talking about.
No.
Anyway. So don't worry about these kind of stories about.
All your pointings, all your reminders really, really helped. I'm the standing testimony for that today, Father. What was my strength? All your teachings, all your pointings was my strength.
Because if there is one illustration of the rubber hitting the road, this is clearly
It's funny.
not just hitting the road like smashing the road.
Yeah. Totally out of the blue.
Once in Guruji's house, we stayed in Rishikesh.
Mhm.
There was a lady there whose fiance passed away. So she said, Ananta, it took me 4 years. But 4 years later, now I can tell you that this is the greatest gift that could have happened in this life. Who can say that?
Yeah.
That passing away of one's beloved one was the greatest gift she had in her life. Because it brought her to the it's undying. So death is not a topic we must shy away from. This body is dying anyway. All that we are concerned about this object will end up where? In the funeral pyre or under the ground. Where is it? Most of us as one, all our planning we were talking about it, but we will not be able to avoid this. We'll most likely end up in a hospital one day, and then after that this body will be on a pyre or under the ground. But while this plays on, while this body has the animating force animating it, can we find something which is undying? Can we play the game in this way? Can we find that which is undying, which will not burn in that fire? Like in Shivoham and so on. Shastra kaate na agni jalaye, which no weapon can cut and fire cannot burn. Can we find that? You promise me you're not going to do this driving on the other side.
No, it was just that moment. Very stupid
Just
of
know
me.
that anytime these kind of thoughts come, please remember me holding your hand like this and getting this promise from you.
Sure, man. I have so much pseudo responsibility now.
Oh, okay.
I'll have to do my karma.
There's some birthdays today. Is Richard here today? Yes, he is. Hello, hello. Richard and Srinivas is not here. I don't feel Srinivas. Tarun was here a while ago. Tarun? He's not there. We sing for Richard and for Srinivas. We can sing a little bit. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Richard and Srinivas. Happy birthday to you. May Guruji bless you. May Guruji bless you. Happy birthday, dear Richard and Srinivas. Happy birthday to you. The thing is, once we start singing like that, if we ever forget somebody, then you must remind me that, Father, it's my birthday today. Then don't feel bad, oh, he doesn't remember my birthday or something. Is it an Irish tradition to have a birthday speech? Yeah? No. We'll get Amba to confirm. Where is Amba? Is it Irish tradition to have birthday speech? No, because she knows her birthday will come one day soon.
No. No, it's just an Irish tradition to sing happy birthday as you did, and it's lovely to hear that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Sending you all our love and best wishes. May you continue to marinate in your truth. May your recognition of yourself become beyond any doubt, as it is becoming. So much love from all of us. Thank you. Baby Ishan is there. Hello. Look at him. Just look at him. I have to meet him soon. Hello. Hi. Namaste. Yeah. What is Papa saying? What is he gonna call Raizan? Is he gonna call him Papa, Daddy? What is it? Daddy and Mommy, or?
I don't know.
You don't know yet?
Now it's just ah.
Oh. Yeah.
Yes.
It's my Ishan. No?
Yes.
Oh, look at it. Blue eyes.
Oh, cutie pie. Oh my god.
Look, you're getting attention even from there. You get attention.
No, Vedant is also there. Hello, Vedant. Hi. Did you see Papa? He's not liking me much because Papa keeps going to meet me.
Hi, Papa.
Hi. Hi, Vedatu. I love you.
We love you.
I love you.
Are you going to sing something? Yes.
I just know the first word. I don't know.
We want to look for it? Words? We can find them.
Yeah, I know the tune.
And after that, we'll sing one Gopala style version.
You can sing that now, Father. If it's too like
No.
okay.
Okay, as much as we know, we can sing.
Shivoham, Shivoham, Shiva Saru, Shivoham, Shivoham, Shiva Saru. Nityoham, Shuddhoham, Buddhoham, Nityoham, Shuddhoham, Buddhoham, Shivoham, Shivoham, Shiva Swarup. Advaitamananda
रूपं अद्वैतमानन्द रूपं ब्रह्मोऽहं चिदोऽहं सच्चिदानन्दं शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं जिसे शस्त्र काटे नागनी जलाए शिवोऽहं शिवस्वरूपम् अमर आत्मा है मरणशील काया सभी प्राणियों के जो भीतर समाया वही आत्मा सच्चिदानंद शिवोऽहं
यजामते सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् Just do it. You want to 1.5 thumbs scale.
1.5.
Is that pitch for? Sorry.
No, it's okay.
The women, they can take it small.
We start a bhajan in that thing. And to keep pushing it all the way.
Trayambagam, Trayambagam, Yajamahe, Sugandhim, Pushpavardhanam. Trayambagam, Yajamahe, Sugandhim, Pushpavardhanam.
Still too low? Still too low?
I don't know, I'm taking in the wrong picture. The God's not touch. Huh? You can sing together? At least 11 times. There's a healing mantra, no? Yeah? Trayambagam yajamahe sugandhim pushpavardhanam vandana mrityu. Trayambagam yajamahe sugandhim pushpavardhanam 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 mrityu.
Mahadevaya, 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 Shiva, 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 Shambhu, Shambhu, Jai Ho. Hare, 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 Shambhu, Shambhu, Jai Ho. Hare, 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 Shambhu, Shambhu, Jai Ho. Mahadevaya, 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 Shiva, 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 Shambhu, Shambhu, Jai Ho. Hare, 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 Shambhu, Shambhu, Jai Ho. Shiva, 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 Shambhu, Shambhu, Jai Ho. Hare, 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 Shambhu, Shambhu, Jai Ho. Mahadevaya, 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 Mahadevaya. Shiva, 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 Shiva. Hare, 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 Shiva. Thank you all so much for being in Satsang today. Sadhguru Shri Mujiji ki Jai.
Jai. Sri Ananta Ji ki Jai.